Phil,
What's up, man?
back in your office, looking good with the lamp.
The lamp on. I should have brought this with me, man. I forgot all about it. I have to remember that next time I have my travel lamp.
You could have plugged it in the background.
I could have had that, right? Yeah, it would have been
Yeah,
perfect. I had the travel lamp. We got to remember that next time. Travel lamp.
yeah, because you travel so often.
I used to travel a lot.
Well, we all
So,
used to.
yeah.
I'll have to
I
look
left
at
the.
my old reports from my weekly reports and all that. I had to see how many hotel days I had back in the heyday.
Yeah, right? I had
Uh,
to look at my passport, how many countries I had in my heyday. That passport's full, by the way. That one's gone.
yeah,
So, yeah.
so many stamps. Canada and Korea and
Oh,
Japan.
Taiwan, Singapore, France,
Wow,
Sweden,
wow,
Denmark,
wow.
Italy,
Finland,
Spain,
Finland,
no Finland,
Germany,
Germany,
UK,
the UK, yeah,
Mother
yeah,
Russia.
no Russia.
Never went to
I
the
can't,
motherland.
no matter the motherland, drink vodka,
Vodka, vodka,
vodka.
vodka.
Where else have I been? Um,
You been to India?
Mexico, no India,
Huh.
no India. Hmm. Oh God, I can't think of some of the other countries I went to. Anyway, China.
Did you just
I went to
forget about the
China.
names? Did you forget what the countries are called?
I forgot what they called. They changed the names of some of them. I
Or
went to
yeah,
China.
I was gonna say
They
that
changed the name.
did some
Yeah,
of the countries change their name due to a
yeah. Oh,
bloody takeover?
I went to Malaysia.
Nice.
That's it. I've been to so many places.
Not me.
You know.
When it comes to
And
the U.S., yeah, I've been to a lot of states. But when it comes to the
yeah,
country, out of the country,
mm,
you'd be surprised to guess how many days do you think I've spent outside the country in my life?
it's a Hawaii count.
Hawaii does not count. That's
Okay,
part of that's the United
None,
States.
none.
No, I have, but
Okay,
it might as well be none. I've literally
drove.
spent I've spent 36 hours in Canada on a visit,
Okay,
and then when we bowled nationals, I think in 2018 in Buffalo,
yeah,
wherever
you
it
went to
was,
Canada again.
went through Canada. So we didn't
Right.
stop. So whatever that length of drive was, I think it was like 3 hours, four
That's
hours
all it
maybe.
is, right? Wow, a world traveler. Hmm.
Yeah, so that puts me up to 52 hours out of the country. Congratulations.
Total.
Total. My life,
Yeah,
yeah.
there you go.
Miserable hours, let me tell you.
The worst hours of my life.
That was the hardest expense report I ever had to do with
You had
all
to
the
put that on the.
conversion.
You didn't have. What'd you spend?
I mean, I had a hotal night, I had
That's
food, I had
true.
other stuff, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so today's show should be pretty interesting.
Yeah, we're talking about the bowling industry
Talk about the bowling industry again.
and the comments that we always get when we announce new bowling balls.
Oh, I know it. What do we need a new ball for?
I just
There's
bought
so many
this
new
one.
balls just for
I
this one.
can't
What's the
keep
next one
up.
coming
Yeah,
out?
I just
Yeah,
bought this one. I waited
get
so
this one.
long. I waited a year.
Yeah, and it didn't help my game.
I just bought a Black Widow 3.0. Now you're coming out with a Mania? It's like, yeah,
Yeah,
a year
yeah, that's
later.
right.
Yeah,
That's
that's
right.
right.
That's right. Yeah, you got it.
Yeah, you're right.
Uh,
Absolutely.
what? So put up the woo box. So we could tell everybody about the
All right.
housekeeping.
The link is up.
The link is up. Put your name in the link, or you put an alias in the link, and then try to claim your prize at the end. Um, put your name in. We're going to give you about an hour ish before we pick the winner. Once you pick the winner, you'll get 90 seconds
That's it.
to tell us you're here.
We had to pick a second winner last
I
week.
know. Last week the guy bailed, whoever it was.
Whoever bailed, they could have had the 3-ball arsenal, but we
And
gave it to somebody
yeah,
else.
the guy comes in on the second choice. He gets three ball arsenal, and
Only in America.
only on
Only
this
on this show.
podcast. And
Yeah.
by the way, it's free. We don't charge you
Free.
anything. We give you knowledge for free. We give you gifts.
Free 99
Right.
every month.
And then if you're not in the show, we'll pick another name. And that
That's how
person will
we
get 90 seconds. If you get a grip sack or whatever you get, or you get a pair of shoes and you don't want it, you say, I'll spin again, and then you get a grip sack, we'll talk about you for a couple of weeks in a row.
We love it when people get the grip sack.
Oh my God, I love when the grip sack saves me money and makes me a happy man.
And it makes us laugh, most of all. And I think Phil just froze. Maybe I froze, but maybe Phil froze. But I'm going to go with Phil because my connection looks secure. Secure-ish. Don't know. Maybe it's me. But we're going to find out. Is it me or is it Phil, everybody? Phil did? Yeah, that's what I thought. Too bad. Man, maybe we can all donate. I know the show is free, but maybe we can figure out a way to fund his internet because it's just not great, is it? It's bad that his internet was better in Las Vegas even. Look at him. He looks so deep in thought. So deep in thought. But hey, yeah. All right, well, I'm going to go ahead and spin because without Phil here, Oops. We give away. Oh, man, we're giving away everything. There we go. I'm going to go ahead and spin because Phil has been booted now, and we're going to see what the practice is about. I'm going to pick new ball, and Phil's going to pick chamois because Phil always takes the chamois, it seems like. So let's see what we got. Shirt. Wow, someone even said Stacy. Wow, Stacy said shirt, and look at that. Shirt came up. Hopefully we get Phil back so we can talk about some news. We can talk about all sorts of stuff that's going on in the world. And yeah, we don't want that yet, do we? Anyway, so I guess I'm just going to sit here and entertain everybody while Phil figures out his internet dilemma. That's basically it. I'm going to switch over to a smaller because I feel like I'm too big on the screen there. And we're going to talk about a few things. I know he's got some news, and I'll wait for him for that. But why don't we just give like a nice little update on League? How about that, right? Because I just finished my House of Pain League, posted the last video yesterday. And we ended up finishing second in the league. And I think I finished with a 224 average. I don't know if I raised my average on the last night shooting what I did, but I'm guessing no. So 224 is going to be it, which is pretty good. I think that's my highest average there, possibly at the House of Pain. And I got to think that recording every week helps with focus, because if I wasn't recording, then, it's not as worth as much to me throwing shot after shot. Some nights I might maybe mail it in some nights, or I'm just not feeling good or tired. But right, yeah, Phil's gonna go pay his internet bill right now. David Porter's talking about how my partner bails on the first golf tournament. I got plans, man. Sorry. Good Friday. He's like, how hard it is to get into service. You got to plan that stuff out. So I had to take the first service, and I didn't want to take off work, so I scheduled on Good Friday. Sorry, man. Unpopular opinion: league shouldn't end until May at the earliest. I don't know. I disagree. I used to bowl leagues that were 40 weeks, 36, 40 weeks, and it was bad because let's see what we got here. Hi, Phil.
I'm trying apparently my internet is. Oh, hold on. I'm trying to move stuff around. I'm gonna try to enter the studio again. Hang on 1 second.
All right.
Okay, hold on. What happened here? I got it. No, I got it.
All right. Are we good now?
I don't know yet.
I was scared there for a little while.
Hold on. I got to get off my phone.
Yeah. Someone was saying they wanted leagues not to end until May. Well, your league doesn't end until like June, right?
Hold on.
Okay. Sorry.
I got to try to get out of this.
Just close the browser. You want to just boot you?
Hold on. There we go.
Kicking that one. There you go. It's kicked. You're kicked.
Is that better?
It's as good
Bear
as it's
with
going to
me a second, okay?
I'm bearing with you. This is the kind of professionalism we've come to expect and acknowledge as the number one. See, he leaves his podcast set up for 1 week, goes to Las Vegas. He probably touched a wire. and messed everything up.
All right, I'm back.
We're just talking about how you leave for 1 week, you come back, and your podcast setup is all messed up. Your internet doesn't work.
Right?
What are you doing here? What is
Well,
that?
I try to set something up for the phone.
Why do you have a paper plate in your filing thing?
I had to try to set something up for the phone.
You had one job, and I think we just lost you again, by the way. Oh, man. It's going to be one of those kind of shows. That's all right. We'll figure this out, guys. Oh, man. Going back to the league. I used to bowl 40-week leagues. Now I think our league is 30 weeks, 32 weeks, something like that. And we start in September and we're done in April, and it used to be shorter. It used to be like 29, 30 weeks, something like that. We'd be done depending on the holiday, how the holidays landed. We were done sometimes in March. We'd have our banquet in April and call it a day. Hey, there you are. You're back.
I'm not doing it on the phone. I'm going to get off that. I'll be right there.
Do you want to try? Okay, never mind. Yeah, I think 30 weeks is a good amount of time. I don't bowl summer leagues. Actually, here in Michigan, nobody really bowls a whole lot of summer. I think a lot of the centers go to limited hours. A lot of the centers, there'll be some tournaments and stuff, but I don't compete. I bowl 2 tournaments a year. So, all right, let's see what we got here. Phil's gonna set up. I'll wait till he gets set up here. But yeah, people are loving this. This is awesome. Yeah. Just trying to wing it here today, guys. Maybe we'll just do the giveaway for everybody that's here and we'll call it a day. We'll try harder next time. All right, let me see what Phil's up to here. All right, hold on.
Is that
what
better?
Do you say? Sure.
Okay, hold on. Is that okay?
It's fine.
Yeah, for some reason the computer, my phone is out too, so everything is out.
Oh, your internet went down?
Yeah, the whole thing's down. Phone's out, everything. So
yeah.
Doing it like this.
So I was telling him about my league and how it ends, after 30 weeks or something like that. While you bowl
Right.
you bowl pretty much every week nonstop throughout the whole year.
48. That's 48 weeks.
48 weeks. That's not even like.
How's
that?
All
right?
Yeah, I'm good. We have 44 teams, about 48 weeks, and then
you barely even get to bowl everybody once.
Yeah, we bowl everybody once, and then 4 position rounds, and then at the end of the 48 weeks, we have a roll off, and then 2 weeks off, or 3 weeks off, we start again. 2 weeks off, we start again.
Hey, I want to be straight with you. If we can take the 3-ball arsenal off the wheel, if it'll help you pay your internet bill.
Can we make it just a 2-ball arsenal and see how I do?
See if you can keep up the megabyte speed on your internet.
Yeah, exactly.
Man.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. It just kept going in and out, and now it looks like it's rebooted, but I'm not even trying this again. So
that's
good.
Fine. Yeah,
that's
okay.
Back-to-back telephone weeks.
Yeah, that's great. It's what we want.
I know. I wonder if I can make this tilted down. Nah, that's good. We'll leave it.
Just leave it alone. Don't touch anything.
Stop screwing with it. God.
All right. Well,
all right. So
I'm gonna bring up the news. How about that?
Yeah, I have some stuff.
All right. Well, let me do our little cool little intro, and we'll talk about the news.
Yep.
It's the striking news. Bowling news and views from around the world with your hosts, Brunsnick and Phil Cardinelli. It's the striking news.
So today, I guess today started the Players Championship.
Yeah, they kicked off today.
Yeah,
yesterday or today? Yesterday.
Was it yesterday? Yesterday. Yeah, that's right. Yesterday. Sterner's in second. But there was a squad bowling today. So this is another one of those, unique formats.
What's unique about it?
Well, we have an extension ladder.
Of course. Top 18, top 22.
No,
what
it's
is
only
it
the top 9. Only the top 9.
Only. That's good.
Only the top 9. So I went on the website because I don't want to bring false information because people get upset about that when you don't think things through. So Saturday is the finals. I'm sorry. Saturday is the preliminary finals.
The first finals before
First
the total
finals.
total
Top
finals.
9. Top 9 make it. So I went on the website. It says top 9. And then it said Sunday was the finals. It never said how many people were in it.
Well, if they do it like they do it in the past, they'll have top 4 that go into the final. And then the winner of the preliminary final will be the 5th seed for the show on the next
So they're
day.
going to have 5 on Sunday, you think?
Yeah.
Okay.
They'll have 5 on both days.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they might want to have just put that up on the internet so that people would know it, and I won't have to ask Nick.
Oh, well, I just use common sense. I didn't actually look.
Yeah. So anyway, that was interesting. Again, it's funny because they had a play-in. I guess it was last week for the Strike Derby was a play-in game. I guess they're trying to emulate the bracket, of which we won, by the way. We won the we won. You're going to get money. I did the work.
Well, you didn't take any credit for all the football picks you lost all year.
Well, you don't take credit for losses.
You should. That's called accountability.
You be accountable for your losses. Yes.
Oh yeah, we accounted for it. I got it down on paper.
I know you do. But anyway, we won.
We were poor until this last week.
Yeah, but now we're not. Now we're rolling in the dough. Nick and I won the Brunswick bracket at
March
we
Madness.
won easy. We won. We were like trailing the whole tournament, trailing, and then everybody had Duke or Auburn, and we had
Florida
Gators. Dun, dun, dun. So we got the money.
We won. We won the money.
We won the money. So let's talk a little bit. Go ahead.
I know you did your part on that, but without my help, I don't think we would have got in and won.
Your help was giving Dan the $20.
Right.
Good job.
Most important part of the whole thing
was paying.
Yep.
No, you're right. So let's talk a little bit about the bowling that happened this weekend. I watched it. I DVR'd it and watched it, and it was interesting. The string pin was interesting at the professional level.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
So the first thing I watched was the one-hander versus two-hander. And they made a big deal out of one-hand versus two-handed. So it was interesting because the one-handers won quite So but what I noticed about the two-handers was all of the Storm guys all threw the same ball.
Mm.
So it's pretty cool. It was that the new Belmo ball, I think it was. And it looked good. It looked okay, I guess. Where they lost, but it looked okay on the first game. Then they got to the second pair when they moved over. Would carry down a transition and everything. And I've never seen this in my life. The doubles team in a Baker format shot 127.
That's struggle busting right there.
And no one changed balls.
Yeah.
They all threw the same ball.
I know it's an exhibition, but
still
laying an egg.
I had a feeling at some point I could have took the 4-year-old two-handers with a dragon ramp and got 127.
I think that would be a good challenge for someone. Can I beat 127 using a ramp?
I'm telling you what, that could be one of your
I'm gonna write it down. Write
that down.
We happen to have a ramp. We don't have a dragon ramp here. But
you don't have a dragon ramp? That's the official ramp of the PBA, the dragon ramp.
That is true. They adopted that as their official.
No.
Can I beat 127?
I think people would like to see that
with a ramp. Yeah, I can do that video. No
Yeah.
problem. What ball should I use? And should I change balls if it's not working? That's the other thing.
No, you can't. I can't see the comments, so you're on your own. I was wondering if I could put it up on my other screen, but I'd be risking that happening again, right?
Yeah, don't do that.
Okay.
What do you want to know?
No, I want to see what the comments are. Would people like to see Nick in one of his videos do a ramp challenge? Can I beat 127?
Yeah.
With a ramp.
I think I can.
Okay. I think you can too.
I think I can. And I would have fun with it because I would like position the ball different ways to see if I can make it curve different ways.
Oh yeah, you can hold it. Yeah, if you move the weight block, but you got to use a 3-piece ball.
Why?
Well, because I don't think you can position a weight block. Well,
technically,
are you gonna have holes in it?
Yeah, I'm gonna throw one.
Oh,
of my
okay.
balls
Yeah. You could do that. Yeah, you could do that.
I'm gonna What am I gonna do? Do I need to use my thumb insert? I need more differential.
You got to use more differential. Anyway, that was pretty interesting, and they stuck to the same ball, which sort of amazed me. But anyway, but I want to talk about the string pin. So this was interesting. You know, the string pin is USB-C approved, and the PBA is going to have some tournaments on it this year.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So when I'm watching this thing happen, especially during the strike derby, right? They had shots that the pin fell and they said didn't count.
How does that work?
Well, I don't know, because the guy like throws a shot on lane. They were using 3 lanes, so let's say 2, 3, and 4. So the guy throws a shot on lane 2, runs over to lane 3, picks up his ball, and as I'm looking up, the pin on lane 2, which is still standing, now falls over.
Yeah.
And they said, well, that doesn't count. Well,
it
fell.
Yeah, but it's not free fall. They're not free to fall.
Yeah, apparently.
They have to ask permission.
So they had some issues with the strings wrapping around the pin, the head of the pin. And I don't know if it's possible to have a tournament, a professional bowl. I have trouble with league, but having a tournament where if that happens, what's the rule? Is it if it falls, it's down?
Yeah, who makes the judgment? Like, what if you're bowling somebody in match play and they're like, nope.
No, I mean, I don't know how that would work. So watching that led me to believe that maybe they jumped the gun by saying this could be a PBA event. Now, I don't know what the rule is in league. So some guys, if you guys bowl on string pin in league, put it in the comments. What do you guys do when a pin falls like arbitrarily? It's just like fell.
Mm-hmm.
You know, does that count as a strike or a spare or whatever? I mean,
I think technically once the ball is released, everything that falls down after that is legit.
Not under PBA rules, though, according to the show I watched on Sunday.
Well, I mean,
or whatever day I watched it. So that was interesting. You know,
you said it right there. I mean, that's enough for me. You said PBA rules.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I was. I'm telling you, I'm trying to keep track of how many strikes the guy's got, and they didn't register it, and then Randy would say, "Well, that doesn't count." Well, the pin laid down. The pin fell down. So I don't know if they have a time limit and who's the judge, and it was just crazy. But as an exhibition, it was pretty cool to see. There was some weird leaves.
Mm-hmm.
Now I don't know if the weird leaves are because the balls the guys were throwing, but Chris Vi left the 2, 4, 7, 10.
When's the last time you think he left one of those?
He left it 3 times. I think it was 3 times.
Yeah.
Oh, not the. I got that backwards. I'm sorry. The 3, 6, 7, 10. The 3, 6, 7, 10.
7, 10. That's more
3,
normal.
6, 7, 10. Yeah. But I'm saying,
Yeah, leaving the other side with the 10 pin. That's crazy.
I had it backwards. Right. It was the other way. Yeah. So it was interesting. So I'm sure people have watched it that tuned in. But let us know your comments on what you saw. But I'm more interested in what do you guys do in league? Do you get into a heated disagreement?
I would personally volunteer to be like the spotter for pairs.
Yeah.
And I'll just have 2 color flags. We have
one of those paddles.
Or even better, I got a better idea. I'll dress up like in Gladiator, the Julius Caesar or the whatever his name was.
Oh yeah, the Emperor.
And I'll just Yeah, they look at me and they mercy, mercy,
Mercy,
mercy,
mercy, mercy.
mercy.
Yeah, that was quite the show. Um, and I hope it works. I mean, there's a lot of good that'll come out of string pin, cost wise for the proprietors, and I just think that they have to have. I don't know how to have a rule for that.
Some people that have bowled strings for a while, they said whatever falls, falls. That should
Not
be.
if you're
That's the only way it can be done. Yeah, if
not on
doesn't matter how
PBA.
they
It wasn't.
fall.
I watched it.
I
I
think
watched it.
if it falls before the cycle happens or whatever,
Falls, it falls.
right? But if it starts its reset cycle and it hadn't fallen yet, then it doesn't count.
Not on the PBA.
Well, dang it.
So I can't imagine that if that's the case, that's fine. I would go with whatever falls. But
I would just record all my leagues.
If I'm bowling a PBA stop and this guy's pin's falling and they're going to have to go back and have a decision on it.
Yeah. I'll be setting up a camera for the league. I'm like, nope, let's look at the camera.
No, let's go to the camera. Maybe there's a time limit. But anyhow, that's all the information I have to share today. But it was interested to see what comes out of that.
Well, I mean, that was the first taste that a lot of people saw.
Yeah, and I didn't see any comments by the PBA afterwards on what they were going to do about their rules on string pin tournaments. Is there going to be if it falls, it falls?
Yeah,
there was one. I'm telling you, there was one where the pin was there and the string was wrapped around it.
Right.
And all of a sudden, so it had to fall down.
Yeah, Brad just said, what about all the timeouts during the strike challenge on a timed game?
Yeah, the pins didn't reset. The rack didn't come down in time. I don't know if it's made to go that fast.
Well, yeah, I mean, they're quick, but not necessarily as quick as, say, a free fall, depending on what it has to sweep. But if it has a little bit of entanglement,
anything like that, right?
It has to go through its little process.
Yeah. But I don't think that was any more than I've seen in the past.
Mm-hmm.
That part where they waited for the pins to recycle. I don't think there was any more of that than there were in other strike challenges like that. It was just normal. You get there and sometimes it hadn't cycled yet, or even that, and you bowl a 10th frame and you throw a strike and the pins don't come down right away. You throw another strike. You've seen that happen. But I was more concerned about what their rulings are going to be going forward, because you know what, we need more material from them for our show.
Yeah, we do. We've been running thin on material, haven't we?
Yeah, the PBA hasn't helped us with anything lately. They do.
Whenever we feel like we need a little boost, here comes the noble steed on top of the horse.
The noble steed with the extension ladder, the string pin with a ruling. I got to hear the ruling. I'm really interested in that, because it's going to be the future of the game. If network connection lost, you believe this?
You're good. Don't touch anything.
Thing just came up on my screen, said network connection lost.
No, you're fine. Don't touch a thing.
I'm not. You know what I do need to do though? I have to
Nothing.
Plug this in. No, I got to plug it in.
Oh man. Oh, we just lost Phil. I told him, don't touch anything, Phil. Do not touch anything. What did he do? He touched his phone and he got booted. I don't know what he did. He's not even in the lobby anymore. So he's going to look at his phone and be like, where'd I go? What happened? Man. Oh, man. I'm going to post the Woo box one more time and let everybody... Phil's having a rough one today, let me tell you. It's a good thing that I can just jump in, take over the show. Personally, I have never bowled on string pin. I am waiting for our studio to get them. I think we're going to get 2 lanes of them. We got 6 lanes right now. And, there's a local center, The Click, where we film our hammer videos upstairs and downstairs. So they have upstairs, they have our string pin. I thought about going there, but eventually we'll get them here, and I'll do some videos, and I'll try them out on there, because why not? Because I want to see the difference. I want to see how the ball interacts with the pins and how the pin action works for me, and what kind of weird carry and what things I, notice. Are you back?
Yeah, I thought you froze.
I did. You just deleted yourself.
I don't know what's wrong with the internet in this area right now. It's bad. No, my phone's back up, but then my cell phone internet went down.
Sure
So
it did.
yeah, I made that up. So let's talk a little bit about, but let's talk fast so we get this done. No, I'm teasing.
Wow.
Let's talk about the evolution of bowling and why are there so many
Wow.
balls?
Evolution, huh? Why
What do
don't
you
we
think?
take it back to how it was back in the 80s, late 80s, early 90s, when you started?
So, and that's part of the reason there's more bowling balls. It's interesting. What were the options when in the 80s? Well, let's talk about the 80s, for instance. Well, we won't even go back past that. The 80s when machines came around, lane machines and everything. But they didn't have named patterns.
Mm-hmm. Short
Um,
oil, long oil.
short oil, long oil. That was it.
Reverse block.
Yeah, but those were just the way the surface played.
Mm.
So you really didn't have all of the technology, and that was science that came about after that. But let's just go back to talk about when you had this three-piece ball. Only thing we ever did was we went from rubber to wood to rubber to polyester to urethane, and urethane was the craze at the time when it came out because it got more traction. The ball hooked a little bit, and then obviously when that started, they started putting more oil on the lanes. So, it's sort of one chased the other, chicken or the egg type thing. But you have to think about, let's go back to the days of the black U dot. You had a black U dot, then they made a burgundy U dot, and then they made a gray one. Well, I don't even remember what colors they made. But it wasn't like that there was so many of them. The angle was the same way. When the angle came out, the black angle, blue angle, gray angle, and the colors, but they made them maybe a little bit harder, or the finish was different. So the technology wasn't there, as much.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that was part of it. But I think what happened is you also had very few changes in the bowler's styles. I mean,
And very few changes in the technology at the time.
correct. But the styles weren't that way. It weren't that different. I mean, Roth came out and he was a power player. And if you look at him, if he was playing today, I don't think he had a rev rate near what Tackett has.
It's hard to say. I don't know.
Right, exactly.
It doesn't look like it. He's doing a lot of work, but I don't think he's getting as much.
Correct. So what were the reasons that we had a lot of bowling balls? Well, the oil viscosity changed. They started putting more down. They started putting more solids in the oil. So the oil were thicker. The lane surfaces changed. So with all of these changes, the company started looking for ways to improve their performance. So I could see, what would happen. Like when I started track, we had the enforcers, and there was a red one, a blue one, a black one, and a burgundy one. And that was it. And there were three different finishes, and covers were slightly different in formulation because we didn't have the science of cover stocks. So once the resin came out with the Excalibur, the technology of cover stocks changed dramatically. You had an A side and a B side, and you can put additives in it, and you can do all sorts of different things. You can change the ratios and get different, and that gave us different performances. But there was still not a lot of science, physics to the ball at the time. We just started getting into asymmetrical balls. We had the Shark, and the Sumo came out, and then the 3D offset came out and stuff like that. But once we got into the physics of bowling, it opened up a wider performance range. And then we had drill patterns. So all of those
you
things,
invented.
which I did. I invented that in my shirt. So you start looking at all the things that were laid on, but one of the things that, in my opinion, why we sell more balls is people want new balls. I mean, you and I were talking before the show. if 100 balls got released this year, if that were the number, how many of them would still be around next year?
Yeah, I mean, if you
And
look at it just industry wide, call it 100 balls,
right,
it's more than that. But
right,
I was saying if 100 bowling balls get launched
yeah,
this year,
right,
if you take a look in January or a year from whatever release date, how many of those balls are still not just in the line, but are being reordered by distributors or still selling?
right.
After 1 year, you got to think the maybe 5,
Okay,
maybe 3.
right.
I would say 95% of those bowling balls that get launched are going to be forgotten about after 3 months.
I agree with that.
What are you doing?
I'm fiddling around. Why? I was just trying to get the screen up on the other ones. I could look at the comments,
Oh, okay.
but I have it muted.
Got it.
So, it's actually up, but I'm not playing around with that camera. Anyway.
Yeah, as soon as I put you on the show, it's just going to kick you off again, probably.
Right, probably right. So I shouldn't do that. Let me get out of that thing.
And I understand I'm echoing. Phil is having issues with his, so he's got his speaker on. He's not having me plugged. He doesn't have me plugged into his ear, so
no.
What you're hearing is me over his speaker. He had technical difficulties today.
Right. So anyway, so you're right. So when people buy they don't really go out and buy the same ball.
No, you asked that at a seminar one time.
Yeah, and nobody raised their hand. Well, one guy did. He goes, "Well, I have a couple of people come in once in a while and buy the same ball," but when you start looking at it, new sells. And here's a lot of reasons for new selling. Number one is people don't want to put the time in to maybe become a better bowler.
You can say that for golf too.
That's where I got it from, right? That new driver comes out and hit the ball further. Do you really hit it further? Yeah, but
fun fact: I bought another putter. It'll be here tomorrow.
What a shock! It's not the putter, Nick. It's the putter.
Yeah, but TaylorMade launched this new Spider, 46-inch broomstick putter.
Yeah,
and it's like
is that what it's called?
Copper trim and a cool Spider black and copper head cover.
Right,
it's pretty good, and the grips. It's a sweet looking putter.
How many putters do you actually own? You're embarrassed to say. I know you are.
I'm thinking. I don't know the number. I've sold some. I've sold a couple. I don't know what I actually have. I probably have that I actually have used and
not used. Now, how many putters you have in your possession right now?
Because some are Dodger putters that are collectible, or the Mercedes putter that I've never taken the plastic off. So does that count?
They're putters you've never taken the plastic off?
Well, they're collectible.
Oh, collectible putters.
Yeah.
Okay, now that's different. That's like.
Does that count though? I'll count them. There's 3 of those.
No, don't count them. You don't have to. You still have more than 10 of the other.
So probably 10 total with those.
Think about what you just said. You have 10 putters.
I don't like getting rid of putters.
And you can't putt.
I can putt fine.
No, you can't. If you could putt, you wouldn't be buying putters.
That's not true.
Well, okay. So along those lines, people want to buy what years ago required a lot of effort to become.
I think reactive resin helped a lot of that too.
It did.
With that mindset.
It did. I agree. But when you think about, we make a ball, and I get that. I've said it on the show many times. I get a phone call. Man, that's the greatest ball I've ever had. I'm averaging 230 with. It's the highest I've ever had in my life. What else you got coming out? Well, why don't you just buy the same ball? Or I love that ball. What else you got? Why don't you just buy the same ball? They don't want to do that because they feel, and this is the manufacturer's fault when it comes to some of the companies, the way they hype their products. It's the manufacturer's fault for selling you hype. Because that's what they're doing. They're making you think that if you don't have this ball, you are now giving up an advantage to someone else, regardless of whether you're talented enough or not.
Well, the number one thing about marketing and sales, especially marketing,
right,
is to make people want what they don't have. feel like they're
Okay,
missing something.
that's exactly right. They feel like they're missing. If I don't have
And
that, I'm missing something.
and this is going to fix what I need.
Correct. The fact that you can't hit the same target twice
Irrelevant.
is irrelevant.
Because
Right.
this ball is going to
Exactly
hook
right.
back from wherever you throw it.
That's exactly right. I agree with you. And so people want to buy new balls. So that's why there's a lot more balls being made. But also, and I'm going to take a step back. We're learning, especially Radical. We are probably the most technically advanced company in the industry by a lot.
The world.
We are
The world.
because of the efforts we put in, and we base everything on science. You know, and it's physics. You know, I mean,
Dragon ramp science.
Steve Freshour does so much behind the scenes work on core development. We have conversations on targets we want to hit and why we want to hit them. You know, I've said this before on the show. We're problem solvers for bowlers. You know, we know what people's problems are. You know, because we talk to everyday bowlers. You know, it's funny. You may not see a Radical ball on TV because the guy on TV can do it with his hands and manipulate the performance, where the average bowler, the guy in league, can't do that, doesn't have that in his tool bag.
Yeah, half the rev rate, same speed some cases.
Right, same speed, half the rev rate. Exactly.
You're gonna need more help from the core.
Right, or the cover, or
the
whatever.
cover. Right. The pro throwing 500 RPMs at 18, 20 miles an hour.
Right. He wants less performance. He wants to do it more with his hand.
Yeah, you hear it all the time from the pros. Like,
yeah,
I need this ball to lay off in the back.
Right. Yeah. When was the last time you heard a league player say that? I wish my ball would lay off in the back.
I wish my ball would
not hit that hard.
Yeah.
I want it to not hit that hard. So we build balls and try to build balls for the customer that buys them. The guy spends his good hard-earned money on a bowling ball. You know, we try to solve problems. So we look at different things like cover stock, the evolution of cover stock. We take advantage of it. We try to stay ahead of the curve. So we make new product, and we make new product that is different from the last product we had. When it comes to core dynamics, you know, Steve is the best at that. He's been the best forever, doing it with Mo a long time ago. But we target people that need certain products. So when a guy says, you know, wow, just what I need a new ball. You're right. You probably don't need a new ball. You need the new ball. You know,
and remember, at the end of the day, bowling balls are a commodity of sorts. They're not a need; they are a want.
They are a want. We agree with that. You
so
know, yeah, you know, I mean, it's just amazing. Same thing. Like, you know, people always laugh at me with my Intels. You know, but they work. Why would I need another ball? The only reason I would throw another ball is if I wanted it, because that ball strikes like it's supposed to, you know, when executed properly. Mm-hmm. So the reason that there's so many new balls is that people fall into a hype. Companies that don't do the research and don't do all the work and just launch new balls because they have to feed their factory. You know, one of the things you have to understand about us is we don't have to feed a factory. You know, we're part of a Brunswick manufacturing, but the brand itself doesn't have to say, I got to build X amount of balls to keep the factory open. We build X amount of balls to increase our sales. Mm-hmm. So we have different product, we have different targets. So when we make a new ball, it's different than the last ball we made. Now, if another company makes a new ball, it's simply because they have to make another ball, or else they have nobody building anything in their factory.
Right.
So you have to be careful of that. You know, core dynamics is always fun. What I like most about our job at Radical is like we take the rules and try to bend them, get around them.
Yeah, we've been doing that for a long time.
Absolutely. You know, Mo used to always say, change the rules, we'll change the tools.
Yeah, it started with making the most with core design, using extra holes to get the most possible differential.
Yep, exactly.
When USBC says no more weight holes on this date.
Yep. And what do we do?
Design cores
that when you drill them, they blow up differentials.
Right. So we just changed the way we design cores in order to get the same effect. Now, can we get the differentials as high without the extra hole?
Probably
close,
but not as high.
Not when you're using Mo's double thumbs, which you love, by the way. your double thumb.
There it is. It's over there.
But
But
yeah,
no,
that
you're right.
makes a
That's
big
exactly
difference.
right. Sure. So if you think about it, if the parameters were so stringent where we couldn't make much changes, you wouldn't see a lot of new product. You might see cover stock issues until they could change that. They can control that too if they wanted to, right? They tried that with softness, the hardness of a bowling ball. They raised the hardness of a ball. In the case of the PBA, they banned the ball that was not too soft simply because they wanted to, we're going to make a change. I don't know, but we have chemists, and their job is to find new technology. That's what they do. That's their job. They have one
source
job.
it, they figure it out, they test it, they retest
Right.
it.
Exactly. So the reason for new product comes from change in technology. Now, eventually, it might slow down. I don't know. Right now, we're fiddling around with core shapes. To me, the super symmetricals are the best thing we've ever done because it bridges a gap between a symmetrical ball and an asymmetrical ball for people that can't throw asims and need more than a symmetrical. It bridges that gap, and we have new core designs. So what are we supposed to do? Not launch that ball and sit on it? No, you always fire the silver bullet. You have it, you fire it. That's our best new ball. We come out with it. We did that with the torpedoes. We have a great core. The torpedo core is fantastic. It matches the covers that we have right now perfectly.
Right.
We can put a lot of different covers in it. And we proved it because we put the direct hit in a low friction cover. So that's new technology. And other companies, I don't think that anybody else has done that, tried it the way we did.
No, especially with a dual launch.
Right, with a dual launch.
Right.
Exactly.
And the core technology is based on what we learned from previous generations of cores.
Correct.
So if you watch a lot of the technical videos that Steve talks about, Fresh and Buckosh, when he goes into the deep dives on the generation of cores, and how similar certain things are, but hey, what if we change this? What if we change that? What happens if we do this? What happens to the numbers? So there's always an effect for every change.
Yeah, and like for instance, this year at Brunswick, of all the brands, 7 brands, we have one more launch than we had last year total, and it's a hammer ball.
Because why not?
Is right now the #1 selling ball in the universe.
Right, and going back to that 100 ball, say 100 balls get launched in 2025. 2 of them, maybe 3. That will still be out next year and still selling will be hammer balls. That Black Widow 2.0 hybrid,
absolutely,
and the original had long legs.
And the
long
purple
time
hammer.
in the purple hammer is supposed. So every company's got their flagship bowling balls that have stood the test of time.
Right.
But if you compare it to the total amount of launches that the company puts out, very small percentage of balls that stick like that.
But some of the companies make them just to say they make it.
True.
The sales don't support it. They just say we have it in the line, we make it.
That is a fair.
Other companies make it because one bowler can only throw one type of ball. I don't know.
Maybe it's in his contract.
It's in his contract. As long as I have this ball staying with the company.
Long as I'm on staff, you cannot discontinue the ball.
Correct. So, but you see, and people say, well, there's way too many balls. Well, there's only way too many balls because that's what people want. People want change. And the people that want change, and I know you offend some people when you say this, a lot of people are the ones that don't want to put the effort in to learn maybe all the aspects of the game. So they want to buy it. And I got news for you. You can't buy it because unless you're hooked up with the right company, you're not going to get the right change. I mean, if you go back and look at the brands and the competitors and stuff like that, how many are recycled? How many are just a different name? And they tell you it's a different core or different cover. It's just, and because they don't have the tools to do it. We have a guy, Steve, that's his only job with us.
He literally has one job.
His one job. He has one job: design stuff for us that we and hit targets that we look for. And here's the advantage we have: we take a target, okay, and I'll give you an example. We have a target. I need a core that is very versatile. I can use with different cover stocks. All right, Steve, go to work on it. We're going to work on a few things. Okay, so we build a torpedo. What's the target? Well, the target was a high performance ball with the cohesion cover on it. We got that with the torpedo. But you know what? The other target was, let's make a ball that a guy can use that is low speed, low rev player and wants to play up the dry.
Yeah.
So that solved the problem.
Yeah. Dry
we
lanes.
don't just say it's good for house shots.
No.
People could say that all day. Oh, it's a house shot ball.
This will work on 74.2% of all patterns.
Unbelievable. And people fall and they buy that hype.
Yeah.
It's a house shot ball. Really? What's different about it?
Yeah.
It's
nothing.
It's nothing. Nothing.
Here's our theory.
Yeah.
House shots are typically dry. People talk about how much their center hooks for whatever reason. They bowl in a house that doesn't oil very often. They don't put on a lot of oil.
Right. That's the house shot for that house.
Let's make a ball that'll work for the guys and girls.
That's right.
That bowl on dry lanes or that don't have the speed.
Exactly. And make sure you show me something in it that's different, not just I named it a house shot ball. So you see a lot of that. You got to put the woo box up again.
Yeah, I'm putting it up right now.
All right, you guys know what to do. Put your name in there, and
got about 7 minutes if you haven't gotten in already.
Yeah.
How many entries we got?
I don't know. How many people are watching?
379.
Not a bad number. We have any comments?
Yeah, there's a bunch of comments. I'm watching.
Any questions?
Yeah. I mean, not really.
We need new fans. You guys are all fired because you don't have any questions.
That's fine. I mean, I like to read comments too. It's fine.
Yeah. But again, you get back to saying, why are there so many? We only are the product of our environment. If no one wanted to buy new stuff, we wouldn't build any new stuff. We'd sell the same stuff we're selling.
Right. And the market over time has, back in the 80s when there was 6 balls in a catalog.
Right.
They didn't change over they might have introduced one new one a year, maybe.
Yeah.
This is our new ball.
Yeah. When I started track, and even all the way through the 90s, we did 3 balls a year. And then we started adding 2 in the mid price. So we had 3 performance and 2 mid, only because we needed stuff that had lower differentials. Even though we didn't know a whole lot about it, we wanted stuff that hooked less or was priced differently. We had price point targets.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, really, you start. I get a kick out of looking at some of the competitors when they come out with stuff, what they say, and I look at them going, and people are going to buy that. They're going to believe that.
It's like, wait, you guys sat in a meeting room for hours, and that's what you said. Oh, yeah,
that's what you came up with.
It's like in that movie with Bruce Willis.
Oh, that's my favorite line. You're NASA, for God's sake. You guys sit in the room and think things up.
That's all you do.
And you got people that are thinking, after you're thinking, other people think things up for them. That's all you do.
This is your best.
That's your best you got. So it's funny because I laugh and say, you know what? How many people have come up to me in the last couple of weeks and said, man, I can't, finally somebody made a ball I can use, in my league. And I said, yeah, well, it's not that hard.
Yeah. I mean, those kind of ideas, they don't just grow on trees. It comes from time spent and just new things come up.
Right. So that would be a good reason for a new ball. Go ahead.
Right.
I'm sorry.
When you came out with the Spy, it solved the problem.
I solved the problem.
And that's another ball that has legs.
It's still selling.
Mm-hmm.
Still selling. That's been around a couple of years now.
It's not necessarily something new that's never been done.
Nope.
But it wasn't available at the time.
Right.
And but now you added your little sprinkles of sparkle in there.
Because we needed to add a little traction to the cover.
Little traction.
Now with the Torpedo Direct Hit, we have a totally new formula. Yeah, I know I said it before, but people think, well, it's not the Axe formula, cover. It's a modification of that. It's what we learned from it, which I said a long time ago. We learned that from the conspiracy scheme. So, that was the target when that ball came out, and I just didn't represent it properly.
Scheme.
The Chimay. But that ball was supposed to be a ball that you could use on the drier conditions with a stronger core in it. I sort of maybe didn't portray that the right way. But, I got Steve working on a lot of different things. We work together on a lot of different projects. And if a new ball comes out, it's because it's new. It's not just simply let me build a ball and shove it out there. And if you think about it, and I don't know the percentage, but let's say for argument's sake, there's 100 balls, like you said. What percentage of them are just fill-ins? And
Well,
what percentage of them
the
are
market's
new?
going to tell you what that is. I mean,
yeah, but they come out and people complain about them. Oh, it's another new ball. I just bought this one. But go study the ball before you buy it. Do you really need that?
Right. And I think the marketing side of it has kind of gobbled up some of the smaller brands out there.
Sure, it has.
Where they can have the newest technology, this great idea for a new ball.
Right.
And because it's not a hammer ball, or because it's not
I agree.
A major brand or whatever. Because it's not a hammer. Yeah.
Yeah.
They say, oh well, but if we were to engrave that with the hammer logo, say we take a Columbia ball, for instance, you know, like that Ricochet. Yeah,
exactly.
we took that Ricochet, which is one of the strongest, most flippy, symmetrical bowling balls, pearls out there, with the strongest cover, HK22 cohesion.
Yep.
Put a hammer logo on that. Make it dark black with the sparkle in it.
Dark black. That's a redundant statement. Dark black. As opposed to light black.
Shut up. I'm going to point out every time you say something redundant.
Anyway, no, you're right. But you make, and that's what the point I make this to the guys watching and the girls watching. We have 7 brands, and we have an R&D team.
Mm-hmm.
Except for Radical, they share the same technology. What's the difference if it went into a Hammer brand, an Ebonite brand, a Track brand, Columbia brand, Brunswick brand? Right. But yet you put a Hammer logo on it, people buy it like crazy. It's the same thing Storm goes through with their brand when they, but doesn't matter.
You got the brand. There's a Stepchild brand in there for sure.
Absolutely. But you know what? It's just a perception that people have, whereas reality is you got to look at the technology that's around and available, because there's extra work going in, and there's certain targets like DV8 is leaning towards technology with cores that favor two-handers.
Right.
we
Because we get pushback from that, like, oh well, what does it do for one-hander? It's like, when you're trying to develop something that's never been done before.
Correct.
Because for a while there, pretty much our entire pro staff was two-handed, no thumb, two-handed, no thumb. So hey, let's run with this. What can we do for two-handers that's never been done? What can we do that's different, that can give our players an advantage that nobody else has?
Right.
Because it's not just our players. There's a bunch of two-handers out there.
Sure.
That can benefit from this.
Right. And so you launch that ball, and that makes it a new ball, but that's a deservingly launched new ball.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't just let me fill my pipeline, let me shove out another product.
Right. But you take that, which is innovative technology with the latest cover stock technology.
Right.
And you compare it to Call a Black Hammer, or not Black Hammer, Black Widow. Sorry, Black Widow.
Right.
Which the core's been around for almost 20 years now.
Absolutely.
It's time tested, battle tested. People know what they're going to get.
Right.
Updated with newest technology and covers.
Yep.
Core hasn't changed.
Right.
It's. I'll take the Black Widow all day long as far as number of sales, because
exactly right.
It's going to take some time to adopt new technology like that.
Sure.
The Black Widow did not reinvent the wheel when it came out.
No,
it wasn't the first. It wasn't the first asymmetrical ball ever made. It wasn't the.
But it had something different. It had different motion. You know what's interesting about that, and you just touched on it, Nick, was tested, true, and new technology. When you look at the HK formula, that's brand new technology that we brought out to market and it finally has caught on with people understanding it's better than everybody else's cover stock.
Right. But the first one that we came out with was not a home
Right.
run.
It was not a home run.
Not a
But
home
we
run.
had to launch it because it was the technology we believed in, and then we had to launch it in several places until, well, guess what? Every ball that's got that is good.
Yeah, Black Widow got it with the 2.0
Right.
hybrid.
Yep.
And then
absolutely. Yeah.
HK22 is on the map.
HK22
And the other
is on
thing,
the map.
the other thing that wasn't adopted very early on, which I think is possibly one of the best technologies in bowling ball manufacturing and since the advent of reactive resin, is the dot technology, the durability optimization technology, where the core or the ball is pinned from the bottom and then engraved at the top with the dot so that you can drill close to the pin, your dot.
You can drill anywhere you want.
Drill wherever you want, not worry about voiding the warranty, creating weak spots in the ball by drilling too close to the pin, having cracking issues, warranty issues, all that stuff. Say, hey, here it is, drill however you want it.
Right. That's new technology. That's why you launch it.
That's why you launch it. So,
and then you add that to balls that are shoved into the market without new technology, and that's why you have so many balls. You know, and you have to understand, a company that has a factory that has to build balls for the factory has X amount of balls they have to build in order to be efficient. Not even make money, just to be efficient.
Yeah.
And if you don't have, and this is where they go hand in hand, if you have, and let's use an arbitrary number of 100,000 balls. You have a factory that has to build 100,000 balls. Okay? So you launch a really good ball. You have new technology and new cover stock, new everything, and you sell 100,000 balls. Well, that's not new technology the next year. So people are like, well, you know, I have that technology. So what are you going to build? You have no new technology. So you build the same ball with a different name,
same or just different cover stock,
different cover stock, or
color,
whatever. If you don't have the option on cover stock, different color, right? And you shove it out into the market.
Right. And it might be a good ball. It might be.
Right. But you shoved it out into the market, and now you have two balls that are selling to equal 100. By the third year, people are starting to figure out, well, I don't have anything new, but there's a new color, and my ball's getting old. I'll buy another one. Now you have three balls to make the same number of balls. You didn't increase your production. You just filled up your factory. And that's what you start to run into when there's no new technology out. And I'm not talking about hype, where they just tell you it's new. I'm talking about where it's factual, proven, tested, improved technology.
Yeah.
HK22 is an example. A lot of the cores that Steve Freshow is designing is an example of new technology. We build in, super symmetricals. We build in the performance because you can't do balance holes. So we launch another ball, and there's, we got another ball coming. Well, you know, go back and look at the No Doubt, the Snapshot. Now we have another one coming down the pike that's even better than those two. You know, I mean, we keep testing and improving. You know,
that sounds like marketing to me.
I tell you what, when you see this ball and you see the drill sheet, it's not marketing.
You've been working hard.
You've been working hard. I've been on it. I've been on it. You know, so it's interesting how people say, well, there's too many balls in the market. There may be, but which ones are important to the market going forward and which one are just fill-ins? And if you're buying fill-ins, that's fine. You just want another color of that ball. That's great. But, you know, we hear it about all of the balls coming out. Well, go back and look at what they bring to the market, you know, and then decide if it's really, am I really buying from the right place? Or am I buying for the right reason?
Right.
So,
and is this working for me?
Exactly. You know, exactly.
You know, if you're buying bowling balls that are kind of maybe recycled a little bit, maybe not offering anything new, it's just kind of a feel good thing, and you're not improving anymore.
Yeah. I had a guy come up to me last night in league and said, man, I bought that Out of Limit Solid. I really love that ball. It's great. I bought it because of the color.
Yeah.
I just started laughing. You know, no, I really like the way that ball looked going down the lane. I liked it. I liked the, well, he's saying it fit his eye. He liked the way the colors look for him. I got it. You know,
That's okay.
It's
That's
not
okay.
right. We didn't redesign colors.
You didn't invent that?
I didn't invent colors.
Oh.
So anyway,
Let's do a
you want
top
to take?
5.
Good idea.
I know. The only kind
All
I
right.
have.
I know it.
For people that have been on the show all day, they probably got a little sneak peek at what the top 5 was when I was
Yeah,
trying to
exactly.
adjust the screen.
Oh, I didn't see you do that. I might have been when I was blacked out.
That is correct.
Yeah, maybe that's why I got blacked out.
No, it wasn't.
Okay.
But watching the string pin showdowns, it kind of raised some questions about some alarming situations with string pin leagues that just might come up, especially when it comes down to being referees.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah, everybody's talking about the echo. Phil does not have his headphones in because he's having technical difficulties today. I'm going to mute you while I do this. How about that, Phil?
Yeah, it's a good idea.
All right. So you shouldn't be able to hear any of my echo now because Phil's speaker is on there, but you can, if Phil can just pantomime if he wants to laugh. Do you know sign language, Phil? Just do that. Anyway, I can't hear you. Nobody can hear you. All right. So these are the alarming situations that can come up with string pin leagues when people have to make their own judgments on whether a strike was a strike. And I think this is going to be a thing. We're going to find out. So here we go. What could possibly go wrong with string pin leagues? Number 5, fist fights breaking out in the settee area. That's right. People are like, oh, that was a strike. No, that didn't fall. Oh, yeah, it did. Oh, yeah, you want to? Yeah, exactly. There you go. He's doing his pantomiming. This is perfect. This is going to be the best top 5 ever. No, Bobby, it fell. Yeah, you almost have to adopt the rule that if it falls, who cares how it falls? That's what happened. Count it. Anyway, so number 4. A lot of sentences to start with back in my day, and it's probably going to be Phil starting with most of those because all him and his cadre crew that are sitting there at the table asking not to be bothered. You know, they only bowl because their doctor says they have to get out and get some exercise a couple days a week. So, back in my day, we didn't have these string pins because we bowled like men. We drank beer, we smoked cigarettes in the alley, and it was better time, let me tell you. All right, so number 3, the potential alarming situations with string pin leagues. Oh, this one's going to be great. Rage quitting. Lots of rage quitting. People are going to throw up their hands when they leave a 5-10 in the pocket, when they've never left a 5-10, or maybe even a 5-8-10 in the pocket. And yeah, there's going to be some rage quitting because they just cannot handle the kind of breaks they're getting. And see, I'm the opposite. I want to find out how I can manipulate string pins to benefit my score, what kind of hits actually work, and exploit that. That's what I want to do. So, yeah. Number 2. Oh, yeah, the Union Pinboy strike. They're no longer needed to grab deadwood. There's no longer going to be any deadwood issues, barring a huge, a pin losing its string somehow, maybe coming untied because they weren't Boy Scouts and they just didn't get the double knot in there or whatever. But yeah, no more porters, no more pinboys, no one to chase deadwood. So there's going to be some people on the picket lines there, I think. And yeah. And the number 1 potential alarming situation with string pin leagues that I foresee happening is someone replaces the strings with bungee cords and all hell breaks loose. Can you imagine that? Phil's unmuted now.
Pins going everywhere, right?
That'd be funny. Like a disgruntled employee gets in there and changes it to exercise bands.
Right? The pin hits the back, the kick plate comes flying back out onto the lane.
All you hear is just bam.
That'd be perfect. Yeah, it's exciting. I can't wait to see league, or another tournament on TV where there's. I don't know how that's going to work. I'm just excited about that because not that I cherish. I revel in other people's misery, but. I mean, watching a PBA tour stop and the pin goes down after? It's gonna be great.
I'd love to see the Peterson be bowled on string pins.
Oh my God!
And like the mechanic back there, when the guy throws
Yeah,
the ball,
yeah,
they like
yeah.
raise all the strings so the pins go up in the air and the ball misses it.
It goes underneath.
Like the clown's mouth type thing.
Exactly.
How great would that be? Just like,
nice. We have any comments you want to address or questions or?
I think we could just pick a winner and call it a day.
You got nothing, huh?
I mean, there's been a bunch of good topics. I mean, a lot of good people talking a lot and a lot of good comments that have made me laugh quite a bit throughout the day.
Yeah.
But I think it's time to just pick a winner. What do you say?
Okay, I think so. Let's do a practice spin. Oh no, we don't do a practice spin.
I already did the practice spin. It came up.
I missed it.
Came up with shirt, I believe.
Oh, not clear magic. All right.
Clear magic.
That's what clear magic. Yeah. It's that time of the year, by the way.
What time of the year?
With Easter coming, 10 Commandments. My favorite actor, Edward G. Robinson. Worst casting ever in a movie. Yeah. How's your Messiah now?
My goodness. We're up to 411 people, and only one is going to be picked. Well, technically, there might be more than one because.
Let's pick one that can't win.
Why? Well, I mean, if they're not in the show, then
the next thing we pick is not the winner.
No, it's a winner.
It's a winner. All right.
Hold
on, I don't have a clock.
I'll use my clock since you're busy.
It's just 2 weeks in a row.
Hold, please.
I don't know what happened here with the computer. My phone is back up and the computer's back up.
I just opened my calculator app. I'm dumb.
Yeah, there you go.
All right. We ready?
I'm ready.
Winner. All right.
And the winner
this week is Sean Miller. You're on the clock. 90 seconds.
Sean Miller.
90
seconds, Sean. Tell us you're here.
Sean Miller.
We're going to give you the spin of the day.
That's right. I'm going to do it right-handed. I think I got it dialed in where I can give another 3-ball arsenal away.
No, if you do, I'm quitting. I'm taking the 3-ball arsenal off the wheel. It'll be tariffed. It'll be reduced by 55%. I'm reducing the 3-ball arsenal by 55% this week.
He's saying I'm here, and that Lucifer is actually a match to his email. So I'm going to go ahead and say that's correct.
So Lucifer. That's him.
That's him.
I like it. All right, Sean, here we go.
What is that? Is that like that old video game?
I have no idea. You're asking the wrong guy for that.
All right. Well,
yeah.
Sean, you know the rules. We're going to spin it. I'm going to spin it. And then with my right hand, because Phil won't let me spin with my left anymore.
Nope.
Kirby. There you go. Thanks, everybody. Kirby. Yeah, he was from Sega Genesis, I think, back in the day. Kirby. Yeah. I was a Nintendo guy, so I didn't know what Kirby was. But thank you, everybody.
Shocked.
Bunch of nerds in the chat. All right. Good luck.
All right, here we go. Good luck.
Hopefully you get a 3-ball arsenal. We'll see.
Good. Let's hope not.
Hope not.
Let's hope not.
Here's my hands. Let's see how good I am at this.
A fake hand.
How good I am.
Got a fake hand.
Back-to-back weeks. Let's do it.
No.
Here it comes. Here it comes. Oh, okay. Chamois, you got a choice now.
Oh, the chamois.
Sean, do you want to keep the chamois? Call it good.
That's it. It's a good chamois. It's a very nice chamois.
Very nice. The best.
He makes a good chamois.
I'll even sign it for you.
Wow. I want that.
Oh, he doesn't want it. That was a hard no. Spin again, please.
If you said you weren't going to sign it, he would have said, I'll keep it.
I just devalued it. It's like, oh, you got some Sharpie on it.
You got some Sharpie where I wipe my ball. All right, we'll give you another spin.
All right.
Sean.
Here we go.
Spin again. Oh, if this comes up 3-ball arsenal, I'm going to fly to
Please be a 3-ball arsenal.
You.
I want to see him pay his internet bill once. Oh, here it comes. Here it comes. Backpack. It almost landed on it. It came in just a little hot. So backpack. You got a radical backpack.
Well played, Sean. Well played.
I'll sign the backpack too if you want. No, I wouldn't.
Don't touch that backpack. I'll sign the backpack for you. So,
well, congratulations.
I think you did good today, Sean. Smart move. You well played.
Phil can breathe a little easier.
Yeah, it's still not cheap, but it's better. I like when we were giving away grip sacks like crazy. To me, that was my glory day.
See, that was the anomaly. That was coming up so much, and now all of a
I know.
sudden,
Now it's balancing out. I would have felt better if it was alternate weeks, not like killing us now. So it's expensive. So
yeah.
anyway,
He says I can sign it. No, I'm not going to
No.
sign it for you. We're just going to ship it here direct from you. You'll have a brand new Radical backpack. I'll reach out to you after the show and get your shipping info.
really good.
But good show. Good talk
It was
today.
a good show. Yeah, it was good. Keep an eye out for the extension ladder finals on Saturday and the regular finals on Sunday. And hey, the torpedo direct hit and torpedo, we got something special with that. And go check out the drill sheets on those balls. You'll see what they're good for. And again, we're here to solve problems, and that's what we're working on. So
Yep.
We'll see what happens. I wish I could solve my problem about my internet.
Yeah, I wish we could solve that too. You know, in the
Can't
immortal
believe that.
words, of Vanilla Ice, if there was a problem, I'd solve it. Check out the hook while my DJ revolves it. And on that note,
I need new friends.
you need friends.
Period. I'll see ya.
All right, everybody.
Nick.
See you next
Okay,
week.
everybody. See ya.